So, hello everybody, it's Major Cadence here again, and I hinted in my last video that I had found another modem in the same place where I found the last one, and that this one was even dirtier and that I had to restore it as well. And so this time, instead of showing you the finished product, I'm going to walk you through the entire restoration process as part of a bit of a longer video, but hopefully it won't be as long as the one I recorded last time. I'll try to skip over the boring stuff and show you the more exciting features of this. Who knows, is this even restorable? As you can see, it is pretty filthy. The bottom is pretty clean though. The cable is covered in dirt as well, even the power plug. So interesting. This was in a drawer. This wasn't in the same bin where I found the last one. This was in a filing cabinet at the bottom drawer, and somehow it still is covered in dirt. So who knows how long it was sitting there, but I think this thing is really cool and I would love to restore it. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is obviously unplug all the cables and give this thing a good clean. So here is the phone cable, and here is the RS232C. As you can see, that's what it says right there. Focus. And here, oh dear, is the power plug. I have no idea why it is covered in white stuff. Now, does this thing even come out? I honestly have no idea, but as you can see, some of that white stuff is coming off. It must be like the plastic decaying or something, because that looks pretty fragile. So for now, until I have confirmation that this thing even detaches, I'm going to leave it on because I don't want to break it. Alright, so let's untangle these cables now. So yes, that is 15 pins on either end of this extremely dirty cable, so that thing is going to get a good clean. And then the phone cable. Ugh, what an incredibly dirty cable. Look at that. Yuck. Alright, well that's getting a very good wash. Ugh. It's sticky. And then here, the only thing left is, of course, the power cable that I don't want to force off. So let me go ahead and wash these two cables, and then I will be right back. Here is the after picture of after I've cleaned this cable, the 25 pin. Now, the reason it doesn't look that different, it still is pretty dirty, is because a lot of these things are literally stains, like the dirt just stained the plastic over time. For instance, on this side, you know, how it kind of looks dirty still. Come on, focus. Focus. Whatever. Oh, there we go. You know how, like, like that right there. That's not dirt. That's literally just a plastic stain. So this thing kind of, I bet this was white, supposed to be a white cable at one point, but now it's kind of gray. I guess it could have always been gray, but I'm pretty sure that this color just faded. Yeah, but this is as clean as I could get this cable, so that's done. Now the telephone cable with all the black stuff on it is still soaking in water and soap, and then I'm going to have to go over that with some stronger cleaner afterwards, because that thing is just really filthy, and a lot of the dirt is not coming off on that. So I'll be back when that's done. Okay, so it's about half an hour later, and I have finally just managed to get most of the black gunk off this. I don't know what it was, if it was like, if it felt like glue. It was sticky, extremely just spread everywhere. Soap and water had pretty much no effect on this. I had to use IPA, and where it was, it just left these like purple stains. Here's a good example. Focus. So yeah, it left those like purple stains on it. So not exactly sure what it was, but it was not good. Soap and water had pretty much no effect. Now this is a bit of the plastic that's missing. So it also happened to be where some of the black stuff was. And so maybe it was eating away at the plastic casing, like whatever it was, it definitely had like some sort of corrosive effect because like the plastic feels thinner here and it's purple. So whatever that was, it was not good for this. And I know I went through so much trouble to restore one cord. I have a billion of these phone cords. I just wanted to restore the original one with this modem. So that's the one that was plugged into it. But these two cords are good enough for now. They might get a more thorough cleaning later, but they're definitely usable. The next step for me is I'm just going to test continuity between the pins here just to make sure that everything works and this cable has no issues at all. Alright, so testing some continuity. Let's get it going, my dudes. Pin 1 over here. It's going to go to pin 1 over there. Nice. Nice. Oop. Come on now. Come on now. Good. 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 I think the list good. 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 All right, so this cable tests nicely. All the pins are fine. There's like one in the middle that's just a little loose on one of them, but continuity is perfect. I didn't test if pins were shorted to each other, but I'm assuming that that won't happen. We'll know if something's up when we try to use it. But all the pins measure through to their correct ones on the other side, so I'm going to call this a success and a working cable. I'm just going to go quickly off camera, go ahead and test to see if this phone cable works with my phone over there. Well, good news, this thing works completely, dials the phone, the voice is clear on the line, so this phone cable definitely works. So both the cables attached to this modem both work. So, of course, that gives me hope for the modem itself working. Keep in mind, I did not clean the modem itself yet because obviously I'm going to open it up before that happens. So let's go ahead and do that now. Oh, and I haven't even told you what this is yet. This is a SmartModem. 1,200 bits per second. Hayes Microcomputer Products. Patents pending. Required connector, RJ11C, RJ12C, RJ13C. Ringer equivalence, certified with the FCC. FCC compliance is required. Completely dirty. I'll just show you what's on the back. So we have an on-off switch, our power input, 13.5 volts AC, an RS-232C port, a telephone company line in, and a little volume adjustment knob for the internal speaker. So that's pretty cool. And of course, made in the USA. How nice. Here's what the front of it looks like. We have SmartModem 1,200 bits per second, Hayes, HSAA, CD, that's carrier detect. Transmit, oh, these lights are so weird. I'm so used to the ones labeled differently. So, interesting. There's the speaker, and there are 2 screws there. And is that it? That can't be it. Oh, the front must come off. This little panel here must come off somehow. So I'll try and get this open. So let me take my screwdriver. Focus. My camera is the worst. This camera is just so bad at keeping stuff in focus. Okay, that screw came out pretty easily. Makes me wonder if it's been opened before. For the people that do watch this kind of stuff, restoring old devices like this, I just find it so soothing. Very satisfying, actually. So we've got 2 screws off. Now, how does it come off, though? I don't want to force anything. Well, it seems to me that the panel comes off. Yep. So there's just a front panel with a red filter, red reflector kind of thing in there, with LEDs inside, so when they shine through, obviously it makes it look red. You can see a little bank of dip switches there. Focus, camera. This camera sucks. There we go. 8 of them, actually. Interesting. And what looks like another board upside down on top. Wow. That's cool. All right, so let's take the back off now. See if we can't get it upside down. Oh, wait, something moved. Oh. Oh, does it? It literally just slides out. Oh, wow, that's cool. Huh, I didn't expect it to do that. I expected one of the top or bottom metal pieces to come off. Interesting. So carefully, carefully, carefully. Now, of course, the power cable is still attached through. Oops, there goes the screw. Put that back. All right, interesting. Wow. Oh, it's out of focus again. Come on. All right. Here we go. Take a look at that thing. Wow. That is so cool. All right, so I'll examine this in further detail and report to you some things when I get back. All right, one thing I am certain of is that this does come apart more. So I, of course, am going to keep all the screws together to the best of my ability. There are 2 right there with their little spacers. They're just little spacers on the screws there. Don't want to lose those. All right. So we've got 1 screw here, 1 screw here, and the last one right here, like that. And I'm pretty sure, yep, this board literally just lifts up and across. I do want to be careful with this. It's pretty fragile. I'm going to have it sit on something. All right, I have it leaning on this book here so that it relieves stress from off that connector, because I do not want that to break there. And wow, just look at that. Just look at that. Man, this camera just sucks at focusing, but big, huge chip there. What is that? Focus. Apologies to all my viewers. I am going to definitely get a better camera soon. NEC on that chip there. Big transformer. I mean, it's not that big, but it's big in comparison to the rest of the stuff in here. And, oh dear. My camera just sucks at focusing up close. So this is about as close as I can get to it. But you'll notice that some of the leads or legs to these resistors and stuff look like they're rusting. But that's not actually the case. It looks like they've painted some type. It doesn't feel like rust either. They painted some type of brown paint or like insulator over the legs of each resistor. Because you'll notice at the bottom where it's like a little bit of it's not painted and it's completely fine. So this can't be rust, otherwise the entire thing would have rusted, and the rest of the metal in here is completely shiny. So this is just some kind of paint, for those wondering. Also, for those interested, the date of the board, I really do apologize for my stupid camera focus. 1982. Made in the USA. So, oh, that one says 1983 down there. Interesting. Pretty cool stuff. I might have to make a part 2 because this video is already getting long. So interestingly enough, 2 of the chips are in sockets. This, I know you can't read it because of my stupid camera, but this is a Zilog Z8681PS Z8 ROMless. says ROM less, but it looks like some kind of ROM. I have no idea. And then the other socketed chip is an NEC focus 83 wow, I can't even read that. 8349NF047. We got some LM348. A lot of them, actually. Interesting. I'll have to see if I can find a schematic, maybe a service manual or something like that. And then once I found that, we'll go from there. But I just think this is so cool. So there's a big electrolytic capacitor. There's a giant fuse in this thing. Look at that. That is such a big fuse. Like, look at that thing. Look at that amount of current. Wow. I can see a jumper right there. Some more settings, probably. So I'm excited to see if this thing works. But the other thing I wanted to look at is if the power cable comes out. Now, it looks like it would. Hang on, I'll be right back. Hey, I switched my recording format from 60 frames per second down to 30. And for some reason, it can just focus a lot better now. So that's probably the reason why. I have no idea. But there's a closer look at the painted resistors. Yep. So, next thing I'm going to do is try to find a service manual or something like that, just to look up what everything does, maybe find a schematic, because something tells me that this thing might not work. There's a lot of important looking chips in this thing, more so in this than in the Rackelvatic. And since this is a SmartModem, I would expect it to have some sort of microprocessor or some sort of, like ROM that could possibly be bad. So yeah, I'll definitely try and find a service manual for this thing, so please stand by. Looking at this picture, it looks like the external power cable does in fact come off, but when I tried to remove it, even more of the plastic snapped off to a point where I'm not going to try to remove it anymore. I think I'm just going to leave it in there. I'm going to hope that it works, because it looks to me like someone tried to remove it and broke whatever plastic, like this thing down here is probably like the bottom of whatever connector. Focus went onto that. So like whoever tried to pull it out just destroyed the entire thing. And so, yeah, I mean, it does in fact come out, but I'm probably just going to leave it in there and just hope that it still works. Because if I get a no power situation, well, that's going to be the first thing I'm going to look at in that case. So yeah, there's a picture of it. Actually, this one's slightly different. As you can see, it doesn't have a volume adjustment potentiometer there. It's got another phone jack there. Okay, after a little bit of digging, this so far is all I have been able to find. If you have a Hayes SmartModem 1200 or AT compatible modem, switches 3 and 8 should be down. And so there's all the dip switch settings in a list. So that's helpful, but I was really looking for like a service manual or maybe a schematic, but something tells me that that might be a little bit harder to find than it would seem. If anyone else out there has like a service manual for this thing, that would be very handy, because especially if it ends up not working. The only thing left is just to plug this in and see if anything explodes. I didn't find any burned or broken components inside, that's why I opened it up first instead of immediately powering it on. Pretty much anything I test or troubleshoot, I always open it up and look at it first just to make sure nothing is obviously wrong, then I plug it into a current limited source. That's just a good idea. I will plug this in now, and we will see what happens. Okay, just checking, before I do that, just checking the primary of the transformer. And it's not a direct short, it's about 86 ohms, which is probably fine. we'll assume that that is good. At least it's not reading a direct short. So the transformer probably is still alive. I'm just really worried about this connector like sparking or shorting out, because that just does not look healthy. Look at that. That is just not good. Plastic at the bottom is already cracking off, so once that breaks off, there'll pretty much be no hope of ever getting that out of there. So let me go ahead and get out my isolation transformer over here. Just same procedure as last time. We're just going to plug it in to a current limited source. Start up this thing first. Looks good. Plug it in. Nothing caught on fire just yet. On the count of 3, I'm going to turn off the current limit. 3, 2, 1. Okay, nothing happened. There was no sign of life at all. So, that's not good. Alright, nothing's hot. So, I'm gonna maybe plug it directly in. So, again, I'm just gonna turn the current limit off quickly. No, nothing. I thought I saw a light come on for a second. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I'll be back when I get something to work. All right, guys, sometimes the most worrying problems are sometimes the most obvious problems. I'm kind of an idiot. Well, not really. To my defense, when you plug the Rackle-Vatic modem in, it immediately turns on. But as I just showed you before, there's literally an on-off switch down here that is in the off position. So we will try it again when that has been turned on. 3, 2, 1. And we have some lights. Lights came on, so we have power. I'm not going to keep it on because obviously I don't want anything to blow up. But we do have power, so the connector is still good. Alright, I brought the camera down so you can see what happens when I flip it on. 3, 2, 1. That's what happens. We might have a dead microprocessor or bad ROM or something like that, but at least we have power, which is, in my opinion, half the battle with these old things. So just for the people that are interested, this is just a transformer, so takes in 120 volts, 60 hertz, a whopping 18 watts, and gives out 13.5 volts AC, 700 milliamps, 9.5 volt amps. So of course there is obviously some power loss because it's a transformer, so that's why the unit there is not watts, it's indeed volt amps, because this is using some reactive power instead of active power. But yeah, whopping 18 watts on the input. Wow. So just taking a look at this one more time, this right here, this Zilog Z8681PS is a ROM-less microprocessor. I looked up its data sheet, and good news and bad news. Good news is I think it works. The bad news is if it doesn't work, I have no idea where I can get a replacement because I searched for these thoroughly online and I found no one that sells them. I found their data sheet everywhere, but this thing must be incredibly rare. And that's the date code down there, so that would be the 52nd week of 83. And now I'm going to look up what that other socketed chip is. And I was not able to find anything on this NEC D2332B683-1. I was able to find that the chip exists, but nothing on its data sheet. The closest I found was a D2332, which is a dual precision CMOS voltage comparator with push-pull driver. So maybe that has something to do with that. I have no idea. So that about does it for this video. we saw that it powers on. We saw that possibly the microprocessor works. Some lights came on the front. In part 2, I'm going to try to hook it up to a computer, see if I can get a response out of it. But yeah, I ran out of time tonight. It's getting dark already, so I have to go. But this is just so cool. But one more thing before I go, and that is, of course, cleaning up the front cover. I just wipe this down with some Windex, and it is scratched on certain places, these stains and scratches, but all the dirt has been cleaned off, and this thing looks really nice now. So, yeah. Alright, time to put it back together. And there it is. Now, as I was doing that, I didn't barely even touch the back connector. That terrible one right there, and it just completely crumbled. So that's pretty much what's left of that connector. I don't really understand, like, what was eating away at this plastic, because it's all covered in, like, white stuff, where nothing else is. So whatever type of plastic this is, it just completely decomposed. And it looks like it started doing that before, because, like, it's almost like someone else has gone in here and filled it in with, like, resin. Like, there's, like, a different type of plastic on the inside. So, there it is, all cleaned and put back together. Pretty cool. It's got some, like, little dirt stains there, but overall, it's pretty clean. I'll have to do a more thorough cleaning later. And in part 2, I will hook it up to a computer, do more intensive troubleshooting, testing. My end goal is that I am going to get this thing to work no matter how much is damaged inside of it. Though a couple of those chips in the sockets, like that microprocessor and that other chip, are going to be hard to find if they're damaged. So that's all. See you next time.